Are a nightmare to drive on, but you can make it a dream with a new pre-owned four-wheel drive from Dream Motors. We all know Dillon streets in the winter are a nightmare to drive on, but you can make it a dream with a new pre-owned four-wheel drive from Dream Motors. We all know Dillon streets in the winter are a nightmare to drive on, but you can make it a dream with a new pre-owned four-wheel drive from Dream Motors. We all know Dillon streets in the winter are a nightmare to drive on, but you can make it a dream with a new pre-owned four-wheel drive from Dream Motors.
Do to order. First order of business, saying the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one
business, approving April 6, 2022 regular meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Russ, seconded by Diane. Discussion, corrections?
Call for the question.
Question's been called for. All in favor of approving the regular meeting minutes of April 6, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes unanimously. Second, approve the April 6, 2022 public hearing minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Russ, seconded by Dan. Discussion, corrections?
Call for the question.
Question's been called for. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes been approved unanimously. There's no petitions or communications. Mayor's report. First order of business is we need to have an interim police chief when Chief Giberson retires at the end of the month, so we don't have another meeting until then, so I want to move forward to hopefully for your approval to nominate Jeremy Alvarez as our interim chief until we can find a chief after I do the due diligence of searching for one. We will swear him in on the 29th if you do approve him tonight for as interim chief.
Approve.
Second.
Okay, it's moved by Russ, seconded by Diane. Discussions, comments?
I was just gonna ask you, you do have to advertise for this position?
No.
The full-time chief position?
You don't have to advertise for it, no. That's what it is I've been taught, people say, just look around, go out to the police board and see if there's any suitable ones better than Mr. Alvarez, if not, or what?
To me, it would be smart to advertise so that you do get people that are interested to come forth instead of going out and just asking. I mean, I think it's something, I don't know what the law says, but most of our positions, you gotta advertise for the position, so.
That's why we need an interim, someone to fill the position until we appoint one, whether we advertise or what, but it gives us at least 15 days right now, or more or less 30 days, because we won't have another regular council meeting until the 18th. And I'd like to make sure I've done all my due diligence of looking and make sure I appoint the right person to the chief position, so.
And there was no animosity towards you, I was pointing the fact that it's gotta be advertised.
Mr. Mayor, I too have questions about that. Why is it that we don't advertise
We
for
can.
the chief of police?
Oh, we can, yeah.
I'm very surprised. I mean, we advertise for council positions, which are, in terms of responsibility and whatnot, are minuscule compared to the responsibilities of chief of police. It would seem prudent, to advertise all over the upper Midwest or upper western part of the United States. But I mean, what is it? Is there something in state law or something in our city code somewhere that says that you don't have to advertise?
It's in there somewhere.
It's in the charter, the mayor.
In the charter, it's
appoints the chief.
appointed.
Points, yeah.
Puts a appointed-
But that's what it is we need Chief Giberson's leaving at the end of the month. We need a chief. That's why I'm not appointing him chief right now. It's an interim till we find one. So right now, he will be, through May, our chief, as an acting chief. Until we do, that's what it is. If you guys want me to advertise, I don't have a problem with it.
My
But,
other, my other question is, we're not, you're not wanting an interim police chief just for a month or two. You would like one for
No,
a while, right?
no, we don't want it. If I had my choice, we wouldn't have an interim one, we'd have a chief. Correct, an interim chief is someone to fill in the position until we can duly appoint a chief. Interim is just, he's gonna just fill in the position as chief until we get a full-time one. Just like when Chief Iverson was sick, Assistant Chief Alvarez took over more. He was doing most of the chief positions when Chief Iverson was going through his medical treatment. So, and that's what he's doing now. He's going to just fill in until we find a chief.
Thank you.
Call for the question.
Okay, questions been called for to make Assistant Chief Alvarez our interim chief starting, I think, May 1st. I think Mr. Chief Iverson's leaving 30th, so he'll be sworn in on the 29th. It'll be his discretion if he wants to make it a dog and pony show to have a bunch of people visit. But we'll probably do it here sometime on the 29th, swear him in. So, okay, all in favor of having Assistant Chief Alvarez become our interim chief? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, all, it's approved, so he'll be our new interim chief through the month of May. Next one is the resolution of the City Council of the City of Dillon requesting the distribution of the Bridge and Road Safety and Accountability Program funds for the fiscal year of 2022-2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved by Russ, seconded by, sounds like Mary Jo. Questions or comments?
Please correct me, I'm still trying to learn this stuff. This is what we call, in our own little language here, we call it the new gas tax
Yes.
money.
Yep, this is the new gas tax money, yes.
Great, thank you.
Gas B or new gas. I heard.
Well, yeah, there's some old gas and this is the new gas.
In the resolution, it says
No,
that's where it
that's supposed to be what it is. That's where they put it on the state websites for some reason.
God rest his soul.
Call for the question.
Okay, question's been called for to approve the resolution of the distribution of the bridge and road safety. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the resolution carries unanimously.
And, Mr. Mayor, is it about at 185,000 or, let me see, what is it, whereas,
This year,
yeah.
it's 102,900.
Okay.
Yeah, last year was like 92, if I remember. The year before was 90.
And it'll go up.
It keeps on going up every year a little bit, yes. Okay, any other comments on it? Okay, on to the reports of the officers and boards of the city. The library board. Got our director here tonight. Does she want to make?
I always talk, right?
Yeah.
So, library's been busy. We're coming into summer and, we're working on hiring as well. We are going to be closed for a couple days or have limited hours as we have staff out during the month of May. We have baby miniature cows coming tomorrow for story time, so that'll be fun. Be cow-raisy. But really, we're just really working hard and trying to keep everything going as it is. Do you guys have any questions?
So when will you be closed?
I'll send out a calendar, but we have limited hours on some days and we have to close some days. So I'll send out a calendar. We just don't have enough staff to staff that time right now. So we're working on that.
So how much Do you think that it's gonna be more than 16 hours that you'll be closed, or?
Yep. So encourage people to apply that want to work. That would be lovely. Or Cami we keep hiring and then right before they start, they drop their keys in the Dropbox and decide they don't want to do it. So hopefully we can get, we're looking at hiring 3 employees. Yeah. Or 2, and 1 will take more hours. That would be great too. So that's what we're working on. It's kind of, it's been kind of a question on staff wages and stuff like that, and what we can pay. So it's been an interesting process this last month.
If you don't mind me asking, what is the wage for that?
It's less than the city wants us to pay. But we don't have the budget, it's not in our budget to increase those at this point. So we're trying to figure out how we can increase that in our budget. We're gonna have to talk to the mayor maybe about a budget amendment, because the wage, the base wage that the city is wanting us, we just can't without moving everybody else up, because they're still underneath the base. So,
And what is that base wage?
the base wage is $11.55.
Okay. I'll sure get the word out there.
Yeah, that would be great. Yep. And then we're just working on insurance. I know in the state of Montana, you've probably all heard that MMIA is redefining their insurance parameters regarding libraries in the state of Montana. So the city's working with us. We've been in contact with MMIA, and so far our library is following the proper protocol, but it just needs to be in writing. So at this time, a letter was sent to MMIA saying that we are working on a updated interlocal plan. And so, I'm pretty sure that MMIA will keep us on for the next year while we are working on that, since we sent the paperwork in prior to the deadline saying that we are working on a plan. And so that is another thing that has come up in the libraries, and it's not just our library, it's all over the state of Montana. So we can thank Kalispell for that. So we are, yeah, and so we are working on that, and I have very high confidence in our city to keep us. So.
I believe, Mr. Mayor, that is the very first class at, when we go to the conference, not next week, but the week after. It's the one at 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning, is interlocal contracts between municipalities and libraries, and their local libraries.
Yeah,
Everybody's,
maybe I should be there.
everybody's having a hard time with that one.
Yeah, and we at the library, since I've started there, have followed the handbook with like the ADA and any terminations or anything like that. We've come to the city, to HR, and said, please help us. I've gone to the city attorney and said, please help us. So we are following those steps that they require, but it's not written. We did find one of the 1909 interlocal agreements for the city, and it says, as per the contract with Carnegie. And so I'm currently looking for the Carnegie contract to see exactly what it says. I have seen it once, but it's a process, and so we just really need to update everything. But we're really working hard, and my staff is amazing, and they're doing a lot of work. We had somebody from Trio call us and say that they're bringing in 30 kids this weekend and are looking for volunteer opportunities. I was like, sweet. So they are coming to work in the library on Saturday. I think we're only gonna get 15 because you really can't fit 30 volunteers in the library at the same time, but I'm excited about them cleaning and doing all those things that we just don't have time for right now. So we'll have them for a couple hours. And then, yeah, the summer reading is gonna be a lot. We're still gonna do Reading Goes to the Dogs on Mondays. Tuesdays is our teen night, Wednesdays is our movie day, and Thursdays is our full program. So we still have a very busy summer coming up, and I'm hoping we can get some assistance down there so we don't have to eliminate some of those things, so. Usually my reports are super happy. This was really not a super happy report. But thank you for your guys' time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other discussion before we move on? On to our attorney then, Margaret Former.
Nothing significant to report, which is usually happy when you're an attorney. Other than we're moving along. There's been a few little hiccups. We're working those out though, and working with the court to, help substitute Judge Lolick get into the role of being a judge. And, he's taken it on well, but it is moving along. Maybe not as smoothly as we would like at times, but it's happening. So we do have a court, and I think we've got, at this point, every trial now has a judge filling in. So we had a couple of those that were a little bit difficult to find somebody on, but we've done it, and by the time any new trials are set, then our judge should be back. So anything now will be set after August. So we think we're going to get through the summer just fine. I'm very glad that that we're not getting someone else new in our system, because we like the consistency of keeping things flowing with the way the system that we have is working. But things are going well on this end of the building. I don't know if you guys shake as much as we do, but it's going well.
Okay. Any other questions for our attorney? Moving on to our planning board. Don Hand's on his way back, so it's Mr. Nye.
Okay, before you have the March 17th meeting minutes, ask for your approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Diane, seconded by Russ, to approve the minutes of the March 17th meeting. Questions? Corrections? Comments?
Call for the questions.
Question's been called for. All in favor of approving the minutes of the March 17th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And it shows here that we have one action item, the CIP document, but I don't have one in my packet.
I didn't put it in the packet, it's 99 pages long, and you've had it before, so.
This is the second reading.
Anyway, so I guess we ask for your approval of the second reading.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Russ, seconded by Diane to approve the second reading of the capital improvement
We
plan.
only the first reading.
Is it the first reading?
Yeah. We couldn't do it last week because it wasn't on the agenda.
Okay, yep, so it's the first reading.
We had approved the minutes. Right, but I don't know,
As amended.
does it have to be two readings on it?
Yeah, there has to be 2 readings, so mid-May we'll do the second reading.
Mr. Mayor, I have the initial CIP that was put together. And I have that because I came in and requested it from Mr. Hazelbaker. I passed that around to 2 other council people who didn't have the CIP. And I also marked it up to show the differences between last year's CIP and this year's CIP in terms of the priority of projects to be done. And I've kind of asked at the last 2 council meetings, when are the city council members going to get to have a chance to comment on this CIP? and it keeps getting pushed down the line. I thought that we were going to be given a current CIP, or what was approved by the planning board at this council meeting. I have one, I mean, mine is clear from, how long ago?
As you were told earlier meetings, it's the most revised issues on the website. No, I did not make 8 packets of 100 for everybody. Well, it's always been told that it's been online for your review. We had the public hearing, comments to be then. Now's the time to make your comments. Last week you could have made comments before it was tabled.
I think I asked, it's in the minutes, I think I asked if I could ask a couple of questions, and the mayor said that I could ask a couple of clarifying questions, but I couldn't comment on the CIP.
And I never saw that any corrections or anything from you or anybody in your,
Those clarification questions were directed at me.
Right.
And the only reason you couldn't ask questions of me because I was just in public comment.
Well, this was at the public hearing for the CIP. And so I could make a couple clarifying questions, but I couldn't. I brought my CIP, my earlier version of the CIP, to that meeting, but I was told that at this meeting, we could finally have a chance to comment on it. It doesn't matter.
Well, you can still make comments when we do the second one, and then we do, hopefully we can have something in our packets.
So do you want us to print out 800 pages for the council?
Yes.
That's,
I do.
okay.
what I'll do is I'll get them printed tomorrow and get them in your mailboxes. And you can make comments tonight, I think, it's up to the mayor. If you
Yeah.
have comments you'd like to make now.
Only comment is kind of a question I asked you before you guys had your last hearing on it, and that was in the new document, it shows the hospital being, not being public property. Did you get a chance? to
I'm
look
sorry, I
into
can't
that?
hear
I
you.
didn't
very
know.
well.
drop your mic, please? Yeah, thank you.
I haven't
Oh,
had,
in the document, it shows the hospital as being private property, not public property. If you own that chart in there, it shows all the public property, and it shows the hospital being in private property.
Yeah.
I thought I mentioned that to you before your planning board, Rich.
in my defense, I just got put on the planning board, so I'm behind.
Oh, that's okay. I was just curious why, if it's a public hospital, it's not listed as public property. You know what I mean? They had that chart showing all public property. But that's my only question, comment. Tag along.
Yeah, I think we do need copies of
Okay.
that.
And my comments my comments, if you want them for tonight, are the two that stand out to me, just because the developer contacted me this week and wondered if we had put it in the CIP, was that two things. Last year, the #1 priority, not even on the list this year. It should be the #1 priority right now to create on the south end purchased that solve a lot of our transportation problems, and so I thought that should be part of the CIP. And then my third comment is that we have a desperate need to get people from the south end of town to the north end and vice versa. And right now, our only Montana Street, Helena Street, and Atlantic Street. And we need another route to get people that in our capital improvement plan to start writing those planning grants, just the planning grants, to see if we could find a way of creating that alternate route from the north end of town to the south end and vice versa. So those are my 3 comments on the CIP. I have some more minor comments, but those are the major ones.
The second and third comments that she has, I think, yeah, I understand where she's coming from, but they would fit more into the growth policy. Capital improvement plan is kind of a wish list of specific projects we'd like to have done now. But the growth policy would cover more of that expansion out to the different areas.
I wasn't talking about expanding out, I was talking about writing the grants, planning grants, to make those plans of how to,
No, I understand
you
that.
know, how to garner that
Yeah.
property and.
And they would fit, I think, better within the growth policy, which needs to be updated as well, so.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Point of order on this discussion, it seems like the council's questioning whether they can make comments. They can make motions during the first reading. And you can make motions during the second reading. The only problem is if you make a motion during the second reading, it becomes a first reading again.
Correct.
Because the public has to have the opportunity to see what you do. So not only can you make comments, you can make motions. It may die on the table, but you can do it. Thank you.
Well, I would recommend that we table this until the next meeting so we have a CIP in front of us, so we can make better educated decisions instead of going by what somebody else says.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved to table it, so we'll get it tabled, and tomorrow, by probably the end of the business day, we'll have
Oh, yeah.
in your mailboxes of the most updated CIP plan for you to hopefully get and just digest for the next 2 weeks,
Actually,
A month.
a month.
month now, yeah. Okay, so,
Is there a timeline on the CIP?
Yeah, a month ago.
That sale. That ship sailed.
Well, we're late, and that's why we're late.
okay, on to the zoning commission.
Call for the question. The table.
Okay. All in favor of tabling the capital improvement plan until next meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, tabling it passes unanimously.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. In front of you are the March 23rd minutes for your approval.
Move to approve?
Second.
Been moved by Diane, seconded by Dan to approve the minutes of the zoning commission for the March 23rd, 2022 meeting.
Say that 10 times real fast. I just have one clerical error. It's on C on the first page, Director of Operations report, the second sentence, Tim took this time to ask the attorney if it says is it should, I think it should be if.
Yeah.
Call for the question.
Question has been called for to approve the minutes of the zoning commission for the regular meeting on March 23rd, 2022 as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried unanimously as amended. Any other
That's the
business?
commission's regular meeting and pushing forward.
Director of Operation, Mr. Hazelbaker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're just getting ready for the summer. Hopefully nicer weather is here to stay. Street and alley guys are out working on Swenson, cleaning up the boulevard in cooperation with the tree board. We're following the water project. Water and sewer guys are keeping an eye on that. We hope to have the Durapatcher about the second week of May. So we can start doing some Durapatching around. Probably won't be Durapatching Idaho streets, but I'm looking forward to hopefully getting some summer help to help with some of the other projects. And then also, town hall meeting tomorrow night at 7. That Kip Shumway from Mungus is going to be here to address any questions the community has concerning the water project. So we appreciate his time, and then we also appreciate Jeremy and the radio station and Womack's Printing for putting that advertisement out there for us. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Mayor, on behalf of the tree board, we thank you for all your work on Swenson Way.
You're welcome.
Any more questions for Director of Operations?
Oh, I wondered, how long will the water be off down Idaho Street?
Water's never gonna be off.
Oh, it's
Idaho
never
Street.
been.
There'll be hours here, like this morning, we were out of water because they hit the main line and kind of blew it, so we were out of water here at City Hall for about an hour. It's gonna do freak accidents that they have to shut the water off, it'll never be very long, everyone should have water.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Yeah, that's why they're running lines, service lines down now, operations, so. But as the mayor said, that, yeah, every once in a while, one will get hit and getting fixed.
Okay, then, any others? Okay, moving on to our police department. Assistant Chief Alvarez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you guys. I just want to say thanks a lot for appointing me to interim police chief. As we all know, nobody likes change, no matter how big, no matter how small. Even like our street improvements, it puts us out for just a little bit, you know. But I just want to say thank you, and we got a couple police officers, one that's out right now at annual training for drill. We have another one that's out for knee surgery, and then we're going to be losing the chief here at the end of the month. We got some very big shoes to fulfill for sure. But within that, we're covering a lot of shifts right now with those people being down. And if you guys have any questions, feel free.
So now you're down to a squad of 7?
Roughly, yes.
Okay.
I'll even be filming some shifts this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's all part of it, absolutely.
Any more questions for our Assistant Chief? Okay. On down we go to the police or fire department. Chief Closey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the packets, you will find the city clerk's report for Fire Hall for March 2022. And I would ask for approval of that as well as the budget versus expenditures for the Fire Hall for March 2022.
Second.
Been moved by Dan, second by Dan to approve the report for the fire hall for March 2022 and the budget versus expenditure for the fire hall for March 2022. Discussions, comments, corrections?
Sorry, I do have a question. On the, is it machine and equipment, it's your account 364?
Okay.
Why does it have a negative number? How does that work?
Because we had a computer program that was our e-dispatches, and I found a better system for cheaper, and we had a refund from the company for that, for the remainder of the year that we had paid up already.
So a refund of software, of some software?
Well, not software, refund of a contract.
Oh, okay.
And I would like to maybe talk out of turn here. Assistant Chief of Police Alvarez has worked his way through the system of the Dillon Police Department. Everybody has praised and continually praised the department. That is not only because of Mr. Giberson, that is also because of Mr. Alvarez. The fastest way to tear a department apart is to hire from outside. You bring an outsider in that doesn't know the culture, that doesn't know their working relationships, and that kind of thing, that is a quick recipe for disaster. That's my 2 cents worth. Any other questions in regards to the fire?
Call for the question.
Question's been called for to approve the clerk's report of the fire hall for March 2022. Budget versus expenditure for the fire hall for March 2022. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carries unanimously. Any other business for him? Before we move on? Okay. Down to our city court, the acting judge asked to be dismissed for today, so he's not here. But we have a city court report. We asked to be approved.
Move to approve the April report for city council as presented.
Okay, it's been moved to approve the April report by Russ and seconded by Dan. Comments on it?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I had some questions, but I guess I'll just save them for August or something.
Okay.
Call for the question.
Question's been called for to approve the Dillon City Court for April. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Approve the April report of the city court. Our treasurer's report, it's coming up next, at the next meeting, it'll be next month from now. So, any questions that we need to take to our treasurer from here? Okay. Okay, on to the tree board. Mary Jo O'Rourke.
In your packet, you'll find the minutes to the March 7th meeting for your acceptance.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Dan, seconded by Dan to approve the March 7th tree board meeting minutes.
And we're just accepting them, but they've already been approved by the tree board. But,
Don't know if they approved by us.
no, they just need to be accepted by
Okay.
you.
Any other reports?
No, if anybody has any questions, happy to answer those.
Okay, no, that finishes the report, Ms. O'Rourke. Okay.
Call for the question.
Question's been called for to accept the minutes of the tree board. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Reports from the standing committees of the city council. Judiciary Committee, Mr. Nye.
No we did have a meeting yesterday, no minutes yet. It'll be in the next council meeting.
Your report, any questions for him? Okay, Finance Committee, Mr. Swan.
No meeting, no report. We meet next Thursday.
Fire and Order Committee, Mr. Johnston.
No meeting, no report.
Health and Welfare Meeting, Ms. Armstrong.
No meeting, but I would like to get with you so we can get one scheduled for next month.
Okay. Cemetery Committee, Mr. Brandon.
No meeting, but I did speak with Mr. Devers today. I'm gonna be meeting with him. I'm gonna take a late lunch on Friday and go see his operation. He's up to his eyeballs in water lines and setting stones and everything. So I'm gonna be meeting with him Friday at 1. You know, a meeting will be forthcoming after that.
Okay. Okay, Parks Committee, Ms. O'Rourke.
Well, we met last week, but, or last month, but the minutes are just not here yet.
City Hall Committee, Mr. Graham.
No meeting, no report. We'll be having a meeting tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Street and Alley Committee, Mr. Nye.
Before you, you have the minutes for April 4th. Ask for your approval.
Move to approve?
Second.
Been moved by Diane, seconded by Russ to approve the minutes of the April 4th Street and Alley Committee. Corrections, comments, questions?
Mr. Mayor, I was wondering, I found the minutes very compelling, but I'm wondering about the last sentence on page 1, how the committee was going to go about that. It is also decided to ask the entire council how they feel about street abandonment in its entirety.
What we're doing is we're looking at what we can do, what we can't do, and what's the best. We're working with the city attorney a little bit on this, and then we will bring it forth to the council. For us to abandon or anything, it has to come through the council anyways. We, looking at our options is basically, and if we're working on Title 12, read that to, before a meeting. Work verbiage in there about that. So we're looking into it, to bring it forth, whether we're going to recommend it or not recommend.
I was wondering if it would be prudent of us to, those of us that are going to go to the conference the first week in May, there is a time, I think it's on Tuesday, it's Wednesday at the end of the day, when there's a question and answer portion with Dan Clark and Kelly will be there, and a couple of other people from the Urban Institute, and I wonder if it would be prudent of us to ask them about the macroscopic view of street abandonment, but also some individual cases where it has been a really good thing and cases where it has not turned out so good, you know.
Well, it's something we have to take in consideration, and according to Title 12, it also says that you have to also look at what benefits this, not just the city, but the population of the city, whether it's going to benefit those or not. And I'll keep my comments to myself. What I found and have kind of changed my outlook on it a little bit. But, because there are pluses and minuses, and the thing we got to look at is, do the pluses override the minuses, or vice versa? And to me, in certain cases, that's coming into effect. My opinion. But that's up to the Streets and Alleys Committee put forth what they decide on. I think we have 2 of them that are on right now. And one, I'm not gonna say anything else. Let's save it for the meetings. But read Title 12.
Okay.
There is a section in there on abandonment or closure. Okay, and the closure is, the city still owns it, but they close access to it. And they can, and then you can, say, property owners that are next to it, it's not a lease, but they can use it. They can take care of it, but they can't build any structures on it. Because it's still actually city property.
They can increase their yard, that's it.
Right. That's basically what it is. And in some cases, I feel that maybe that's, and then the other problem is the bridge on the other property. And whether the county would put the money forth to build a new bridge, or would it be cheaper to put a culvert in? A big culvert, because there are cases where they've put a culvert in because it was cheaper and easier to maintain. Whether we can do that on that, that's a canal, isn't it?
It is.
Whether we can do that on the canal or not, that's another question we have to look into. So, but that bridge is gonna have to be fixed. Something's gotta be done with it, and we're asking for an engineer to come up and look over it and see what they recommend. And according to the city attorney, we actually should close it because of the liabilities. If something were to happen when we know that the bridge is in bad shape, and something happens and somebody gets hurt, city's big time liability.
Oh, I didn't realize it was so dangerous. I walk across that bridge every day, and,
I don't know, this is just what was brought forth to us, that it was in bad shape. So that's why we're asking an engineer, requesting for an engineer to come and look at it and to let us know what needs to be done, if anything, or
Now that you've brought it to our attention, should we go ahead and have the director of operation go down and close the bridge off until we get an engineered report saying it's safe to use?
oh my goodness, there are probably 200 people that, 200 trips back and forth across that bridge every day. That would
I
be,
recall one of the lessons from MMIA says, if you ever say something is dangerous, you close it off, because that's like painting the sidewalk. Once you paint the sidewalk and admit it might be a danger, you're admitting liability. We have just discussed it in a public forum that it could be dangerous. I think the safest thing for the city to do is to...
none of us are engineers, Raymond.
Exactly.
I think that's right, how to make it
The
tough.
comments that were presented to me is that we're looking at wanting to tear it down or abandon it because it's not safe. So that's what my suggestion is based off of. If it's questionable about its safety, then